Good afternoon, and thank you for hearing me today. Before we begin, I would like to show you a picture of our daughter, Grace. She was a communicative, bright, active teen who was unbelievably to us lost to suicide in 2012. Certainly, you know I'm here to support SB 103. I'm Grace's mom. We were here in 2013, and that law passed unanimously to protect future children from what had happened to Grace that we couldn't get help for. And it passed unanimously 4 days before the one-year mark of her death. It brought the cyber abuse of children to the fore. Last year, we were here again, as you heard. We were really pleased that it passed unanimously through the Senate chamber and never got a chance to get out of committee. Wasn't given a vote. In 2013, we could barely function less than a year after she died. And today, we're functioning, but we're still able to draw on a well of deep devastation and just confusion, anger, at how you can have a child that literally, we have 4, you know they're all born different, literally have a child that's born joyful, happy, bright, made everyone laugh all the time. Just if you show her, do you have those pictures? Oh, they're there. You can see this was the child. She was a bright light. And an injustice occurred that took her out of this life way too soon. An undeserved, hate-filled, just unbelievable pain that she went through, and she could not see out of the despair to a better day. What started out as an uninvestigated drug-assisted sexual assault of a naive 14-year-old turned into a horror story of fear, isolation, and trauma, with the addition of cyber hatred, harassment, and intimidation, and our inability to protect her or ever see anybody held responsible for what happened. As I told you, she was communicative and she was bright. We knew what was going on. This wasn't a surprise to us. But we ended up helplessly kind of watching a slow-motion car wreck of her demise from despair, suffering from anxiety, depression, and PTSD, exacerbated by hatred on social media. Social media tweets haunted her, such as the ones that Senator Zirkin will read to you.
The guy was posting things like, snitches, I will kill you. Snitches should have their fingers cut off one by one while they watch their families burn. Constant use of hatred, hate. Next time your name rolls off, my name rolls off your tongue, you should choke on it and die. I hope you somehow see this, cry yourself to sleep, and kill yourself. You might as well, since you're a worthless piece of...
Social media and Twitter in particular was new then, and adults were largely unaware of what was going on online and the psychological dangers of malicious and vicious cyber abuse repeatedly aimed at children. And the difference is, and we know this now, it's not like it goes to one person. On social media, it goes out to hundreds at a time, and then it can be retweeted or it can be shared with the person who it's about, just to let them know. Grace never had Twitter. I didn't even know what it was when it began. But it goes out instantly to entire peer groups, and then it becomes fodder for the rumor mill, and it's damaging. For a young teen who knew that we had searched and even begged for help from the police, from the schools, from the courts, and from other professionals with little action or little response, it just seemed insurmountable. In the years since her death, people have become much more aware of how digitally interconnected our children are and the devastating impact that cyber abuse can have. Yet, unfortunately, now we see, even at the highest levels of our government, of our leadership, we regularly witness adults misuse social media to publicly demean and insult. The malicious nature of our public discourse not only sets a poor example for our children, but I believe it threatens the unity and the civility of our nation. Name-calling, rudeness, and hatred are assaults on the human dignity of every single one of us, and we can't let it be normalized. The proliferation of cyber equipment and applications continues to morph and change day to day, and the kids are always ahead of us on this, and they need additional protections for those that would use it from harm. There are local cases and those that span the globe of children who have been exploited and then cyberbullied to death. In the past year, I have received multiple pleas for help from Maryland families, including kids who are being hounded for explicit photos, and when they don't come through with it, vicious rumors spread about them. And when someone is brave enough to go forward and ask for help, often an explosion of cyber hatred comes back at them as a snitch or as someone you told or whatever, and that has to stop. Children need these protections, but we need to put money and resources towards making these protections known. I continue right up until this week to hear incidents where Grace's Law absolutely would have helped protect a child, but the school and law enforcement either didn't know about it or just didn't share it. This is 5 years later. Finally, as a community and as a nation, we need to speak up and speak out for Grace. And in this way, in this context, Grace, G-R-A-C-E, stands for give respect and compassion to everyone. I believe it's a way to a world of health and peace for our children, and I'm hoping that, say, 30 years from now, we will look back to today as the day that we boldly acted to protect our children and make needed progress towards social change of making the world more kind. Thank you for hearing me. I hope you will pass SB 103.